Hey y'all, Michelle Raza here with the Finding Yourself Book Club. Today we're going to talk about Lindsay Gibson's Recovering from Emotionally Immature Parents. We've covered 8 of her 10 responses for how to protect your inner world, and today we will cover the 9th one. So this is the second to last video on these tips and tricks to help you protect your right to your inner world. Please do check out our website if you get a chance. We're at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. There you can take our free life balance questionnaire and submit it to us. You can also just fill out a contact form and we'll be in touch. The first consult is always free and there's no obligation thereafter. Thank you. Also, if you get a chance, please do like and subscribe. It really does help us little YouTubers. And yeah, we'll get started. Thanks. Okay. Response number 9. Defend the legitimacy of your problems. EIPs like to point out that other people have lived through worse things. For instance, one woman's mother was a war refugee who was a war refugee as a child, used to shut down her daughter's distress by saying, "What are you complaining about? You have 3 meals a day and nobody's trying to kill you." It's pointless to try to top something like that. But you could say, "I appreciate the life I have. I know others have it much worse. However, this is the problem I'm in the middle of right now. Would you rather I didn't tell you about it?" So just like some of these other responses that we've gone through, one question that I would ask myself if I was the person in this situation would be, if this person consistently responds in this way, that her response here, "Would you rather I didn't tell you about it?" is kind of like a guilt trip or a push to have the other person say, "No, of course I'd rather you tell me about it." And that's fine. I mean, maybe that's the way we want to go. But it may be that if you've tried to engage in the past and you haven't had positive responses, you just don't really discuss these issues with your EIPs. And again, it comes back to your relationship with your emotionally immature person, whether that be a parent, a sibling, a coworker. The level of intimacy that you have in relationships with other people, it should vary. And it should vary from your closest friends and confidants that you can say anything to your romantic partner, to work friends who you may be a little more distant from, to acquaintances. And so it might be that for a lot of you, you're really craving this close, intimate connection that you just don't have with your family. And in Dr. Gibson's previous book, she talks about our healing fantasy and our role selves. And so for a lot of us, we have this fantasy that if we're just blank enough, just perfect enough, just nice enough, just reach out enough, that our EIP will magically come around. And I really wish that was the case. But in most cases, the EIP will not magically come around. And it is kind of on us to find those reciprocal relationships with other people who essentially can reciprocate. I recommend working on establishing a friends group that can be mutually supportive, that you can talk about anything, that's non-judgmental. That really is a great way to make up for these lost relationships that you have with your EIPs. It can be that you care about these people, right? And you don't want to cut them out of your life. So you continue to have friendly and cordial relationships with them, but you're never going to be able to achieve that intimacy that you would like to have, that close, emotional, intimate relationship. Here where she doesn't say the name of the person, but her mother was a war refugee. Like, I'm sure this person would have loved to have heard all the stories and then not to be minimized when she herself had a problem because her mom was a war refugee, right? She's probably craving a close relationship where she knows all about her mom's history, and then she can still have a problem when a big bill comes in the mail or a flat tire or something that's a first world problem, as we'd say, but it's still a problem for the person facing it. So the point here is don't minimize your issues and your problems for the sake of the EIP in your life. They are valid. As I've said in previous videos, your feelings are valid, and what you're experiencing really does deserve to be heard and supported. If you don't have that friends group of that supportive group of people, you may want to start journaling. Reach out to a certified therapist, email me, we can talk. But you need people in your life who can hear you, who see you, and who don't judge you, people who are just supportive and there for you. And so these tips that Dr. Gibson is giving us from the beginning all the way until now, they're basically ways to keep these EIPs in your life, but keep them kind of at an arm's length. And some of these responses, like I said, they're a little bit of a guilt trip, and who would respond saying, yes, I'd rather you not tell me about it. But at the same time, you need to take a look at your own relationship with your EIP and determine whether it's even worth it for you to push that. Or do you just not bring your problems to these people since you know that that's how they're going to respond, and instead you bring it to another person or a group of people that can be more supportive? I can't stress enough how important that is. It really is important to have a close, supportive group of friends. And it's not perfect. I mean, it's not perfect. All of these responses that we talk about practicing with your EIP, you may do it in front of the mirror and you're great at it. And then you get in that situation and you end up responding, right? You end up reacting negatively instead of taking that time to think through it and respond as we wanted to. So it's fine. Just pick yourself back up. Think about how long it took for you to get in this situation where you play a role self, where you're not really true to your own emotions and feelings, where you kind of control everything that you say around the EIP because you know that criticism is right around the corner. That didn't happen overnight. And so getting out of there won't happen overnight either. Just keep chipping away at it. Grab your journal, work on the activities that are at the beginning, and then pick up towards the end of this book. Pick up your own copy of the book, Recovering from Emotionally Immature Parents by Dr. Gibson. Her previous work as well is really, really good. And then check out our other playlists. So we have a few. One of them is the Gottmans, John and Julie Gottman. They have a lot of appearances on YouTube, so I've just kind of put those together wherever I could find them. Then I cover Dr. Gottman's What Makes Love Last, with a little bit of a deviation into the 7 Principles of Making Marriage Work. Those 2 books, even though they're made for romantic relationships, are actually really, really good handbooks on emotional intelligence and how to respond to someone and how to attune to them. So I highly recommend those as well. And then we do have another playlist on coping with domestic violence. That one's very interesting. It goes over the Duluth power and control wheel. And then we have a fun series that I actually haven't updated in quite a while, where I'm just reading Robert Heinlein's Stranger in a Strange Land. So absolutely nothing to do with the meat and potatoes of what we cover. But I'm glad to have you here with me. Please do like and subscribe and check out my website. I'm at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. Take care, y'all. Talk on Thursday.